Here we go. Welcome back to episode 23, everybody, with your host, Brantt Myhres. Hashtag UnHammered, the podcast where we come weekly to get hopefully some inspiration and some encouragement along your journey, or if you know somebody that is along the journey, starting or midway or whatever way they are, welcome to the podcast. And as always, to those who made it 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, and especially to you one-dayers, grab your coffee, tea, pop, whatever you want, whatever, throw some extra sugar in that thing, and let's have a cheers and congratulate each other for the miracle. Here we go. Man, that's good. I wanted to remove a little bit of my sugar from that thing, and doesn't taste as good, does it? You know, but I guess that's called sacrifice, right? Sacrifice. All in moderation, as they say. Hey guys. Okay, so last week we did the meditation, right? And then we did a prayer. Well, why not? Why not? It's been 7 days, everyone, right? So why not do that? Let's do what's our meditation for the day? Here we go. In all of us, there's an inner consciousness that tells of God, an inner voice that speaks to our hearts. It is a voice that speaks to us intimately, personally, in a time of quiet meditation. It is like a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. We can reach out into the darkness and figuratively touch the hand of God. As the big book puts it, deep down in every man, woman, and child is a fundamental idea of God. We can find the great reality deep down within us. And when we find it, it changes our whole attitude towards life. Wow. Love it. Prayer for the day, everyone. I pray that I may follow the leading of the inner voice. I pray that I may not turn a deaf ear to the urging of my conscience. That was great. Did you guys like the meditation? I thought that was interesting. Talking about what sort of caught me, everyone, was deep down, every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. Yeah, I mean, any of you that have had children and when they're young, when they're little babies, and even when they're Kaner's age or when Peanut was little, there's moments that when they're laying in bed with you and you've got your arm around them and they're softly sleeping, and their skin is soft and everything about them feels so beautiful, you know, and to me, that's God's work. That's God's work. And I had it this morning with Kaner when I was laying there getting him ready for Halloween. And yeah, he wanted to be David Banner from 1970, the Hulk. So we got Bud's his suit. But anyways, I guess my point to that whole meditation thing is when they talk about God or your understanding of a higher power, there's little things that happen along the way, and sometimes I think he was sent down. I think he was sent down for a reason for me. And I ask him little things all the time. I'm like, "Hey man, where do you come from, dude? Where'd you come from?" He's like, well, I fell off the moon." I'm like, "No way." I'm like, "Well, where did Daddy come from?" He goes, "The stars." And I just was like, you want to talk about a powerful moment. Daddy came from the stars. Yeah, wild. Okay, what do we got here, guys? Got oh, by the way, hey, you guys want to check out this t-shirt? This t-shirt says the only Coke that I do is diet, which is 99% true. Unless I'm feeling a little bit crazy, I'll get a regular Coke. But anyways, this t-shirt was sent to me by a lady named Haley Mortison, and she runs a Sober is Sexy thing on Instagram and other places. So anyways, thanks, Haley. I like it. And you're right. I like wearing the shirt because it's true. I don't do cocaine anymore. What else we got here, folks? Okay. This gentleman, what's his name? Brian. Your message gives me strength and hope. The most important thing today is I have my sobriety. Thank you. Yeah, isn't that true? Because ultimately, everyone, without that bedrock, without that cast iron that keeps your feet, not wandering too far. To me, it gives you a shot. It gives you a shot at actually achieving something in your life, and if that's literally losing a pound of weight every week, because you're having issues with overeating, if that's saying no to going to the casino or gambling on stuff, if you have a gambling problem, whatever it may be, it's those little steps. It's those little steps that give you hope. Thanks, Ryan. This lady's name is Erin G. My 19-year-old son just had 16 months clean and just relapsed. How can we get him on track? We were told we can't because he has to decide. The powerlessness is horrible. Yeah, Erin, it's tough. And as I mentioned in the previous podcast, that powerlessness, man, again, your son, I don't know what the boy's name is, but he is going to have to fully concede 100% to step one. And then let's work on that after that, right? So obviously it sounds like he sort of did. And good for him. He's 19 years old and he had 16 months sober. Like, okay, so that's not lost. That's still in the bank, right? Every day that he was clean and he was working towards something. Good for him. Good for him. Should give him a fucking hug, I just think that I didn't get into this thing until I was 24, and then it took me till I was 34 to get sober. So Aaron, you know what? Good for your boy. And 19 years old trying to get sober. Good for him. Tell him to reach out to me. And we'll chat. Okay. Here we go. This is great. Yeah. So, again, guys, like there might be a hockey story or two in here, right? But so there's a guy named Trevor Gillies, and I don't know if you, most of the hockey people probably have heard of this animal. Good animal though, fucking tiger. He's a tiger. And anyways, so he's an old buddy of mine. I played pro with him. When he was just a rookie, he'd show up in this old car, and it was in the wintertime. And I don't know what year, I think it was 70 something, and it had no heater in it. And I get in there, I'm like, bro, like, fuck, man, buy a heater. He's like, no, it's all good. So he was just a nail gun. He was just a great guy, nail gun. And he sends me this message today, guys. Played for the New York Islanders. I'll tell you what, he fought a guy named Derek Bugard, who was 6'8", when he got called up to the Anaheim Ducks. And like all of us, like me, like every fucking heavyweight, you get tattooed, man. And Derek caught him with an uppercut. And here's the type of character he is. So he goes down to the minors and he grinds it. He fucking keeps grinding and fighting. And he makes his way back to the New York Islanders. Okay. And guess who they're playing? They're playing the New York Rangers. And guess who's on the other side? Derek Bugard. You betcha. R.I.P. too, Derek. But anyways, so Gilly wanted that fight, and Gilly went after him, and he did awesome. But that goes to show you. So anyways, here's a message from the Gill train. Oh, and by the way, I have listened to every single episode of the UnHammered podcast and love it. So proud of you for what you're doing and have overcame. It's a major blessing what you're doing to help others. Always huge love and respect for you, Lefty. Yeah, buddy. No, love you too, buddy. It's thank you for listening. And Yeah, what a warrior you are. What a warrior. We don't have guys like that in the league anymore. It's just, they're not that they're not warriors. I don't mean that. I just mean that it's a completely different era when it comes to the mentality. Just go Google Trevor Gillies and check out the handlebar mustache on him. I mean, talk about just getting out of San Quentin on a fucking black Harley. Okay, here we go. What else? How many of you are sober curious? Because I get messages a lot saying, hey man, I'm not sure. And I'm sort of testing out the waters, right? And the only thing I can say is, what does your history tell you? Like, what does your history tell you on what you've how can I put how you fucked up? Really, how have you messed up your life because of alcohol or drugs? Have there been times where you went, Jesus Christ, man, like I'd never do that sober, you know? And I think there's nothing wrong with giving it a shot, even if you're not necessarily really wanting to, like, you know, get sober and do all the work. Maybe you can just lay off alcohol for, I don't know, try like 2 weeks. Try 2 weeks of laying off alcohol. And actually everything. No drugs, no booze. And maybe try and exercise. And then maybe change your diet, maybe like, I don't know, 15%. And do that for 2 weeks, right? And just see how you feel. And I probably bet you that you're going to go to week 3. You're going to want to get to week 3. Because I don't see a downside in this thing other than the big one is social activities, you know, learning to actually navigate and have a smile on and have fun when you're out and you're not drinking. It's that simple. And then, guys, I have so many stories of why I'm not really sober curious. There's another question to this. And it was interesting. Hey, Brantt, what happened with the Eric Lindros story? That's an interesting story. That's one that I'd like to take back. Eric Lindros was a good friend of mine that I played for the Philadelphia Flyers, and we were about the same age. And I made a big mistake that night with him, and it was all due to my drinking. And it was after a game, and we all went out for dinner, and we were all having some drinks, and we were all having a good time. And then I get to that point in my alcoholism where I stop remembering. You know, things sort of go blurry. And anyway, so we're back at the hotel room, and Eric Lindros and Paul Coffey were rooming together, and they had their alias names. You could never find that room, but I did. And I showed up there, and I was loaded. And Eric and Paul were chatting, and they were having a beer, and I sat down on the bed and started having a beer with Paul. I vaguely remember that. And then I thought, well, I'm not drunk enough yet, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the mini bar and get another beer. And I look back, and as I look back, Eric Lindros, we call him Big E, he throws his beer at me. And in my head, I think he's trying to hurt me, right? I think Eric's trying to hurt me by throwing this beer at me. And it's coming at me. And so I thought he's throwing it at my head, and I sort of duck out of the way, and I looked at Koff and I said, "Did you see that?" And he just sort of went like this. He goes like, "Oh, I'm staying out of it, mice." And anyway, so Eric gets up, and now I'm in full go mode. And I go up to Eric Lindros, and I grab him by his shirt, and I pin him up against the wall, and my fist is on his neck. And I'm like, "You ever throw a beer can at me again, Big E, and I'm going to drop you. I don't care how much money you make." Anyways, Paul's like, settle down, you know, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, it was the next morning, we were on the bus, and Eric goes, "Knuckles, you know, what was with you last night, man?" I said, "What do you mean? You threw a beer can at me." He goes, "Dude, I was just tossing you a beer instead of going to the mini bar. I was tossing you a beer." And looking back at it, he was. And that, you know, that was the thing that, like, for me personally, is that when you get to a stage of your alcoholism, you do things that you're not proud of. And I definitely wasn't proud of that situation with Eric. We were good friends. We went to the David Letterman show together, and we hung out all the time. And I don't know. I just look back at that situation with a buddy of mine, and alcohol had a real part to play in me acting like an asshole. End of story. And that was the Lindros story. Sorry, Big E. Didn't mean it, bud. Somebody asked me if I could change one thing in my life and go back, what would it be? And I responded with, I'd be raised by my mother and my father in the same home. And I stick by that. There's been something in me that's missing throughout my life, and it was family, it was connection. Don't get me wrong, I had it from my grandparents, right? But I always looked at people that sat around a dinner table with their mom and dad and had dinner, and were in the car together and went and did family functions and all that kind of stuff. And I think if I could change anything, I'd have two relatively healthy parents that lived together, that loved each other, and showed me the way a little bit. So yeah, if I could go back and change anything, it would be having my mom and dad raise me, 100%. I think coming from a broken home, and my brothers too, Devin and Derek, right? Like I didn't really get to know them that good, like it was, we seen each other and stuff, right? And then my sister, Cher, she lived with mom, and then she had a beautiful little baby girl named Tennille, and Cher was pretty young when that happened. I think she was like 15. So my sister was sort of like out on her own at that point. And so we were sort of scattered all over the place, and I just wish we were all in the same home together. And so yeah, that's what I could change. I'd do that. I have nothing to do with money or nothing. I'll tell you that much. And it affected me. That's why now, like, it's hard because, when I'm a single dad, right? My kids, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough world out there, folks. You can get married and you can have all that. And then I don't know why the divorce rates are so fucking high. People just, I guess they just, I don't know if they get sick of each other, if you get bored and you want to trade the car in for a newer car. I think that's what it is. You think the grass is greener, and a lot of the other times there's no fucking grass over there. It's dead. And you find that out in court, and you find that out after the fact. And then you don't realize how much you're hurting the kids too, So, what's this one? I don't know if I want to read that one yet. I might want to read something else. We'll get to it. All right, everyone. Bang. The old big book. Big book of AA and NA. Ooh. Oh, you know what? Okay. I'm excited. Not only is it Halloween today, but it's one of my favorite chapters in the book. And it's called How It Works. This is amazing. Okay, so let's read a little bit, everyone. And we'll go from there. Chapter 5, How It Works. Page 58. Oh, they start out with this word. They start out with the word called rarely. Rarely, what does that mean? Hardly ever. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. I like that word, honest. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. They used honest twice in that paragraph. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like and what happened and what we're like now. Okay. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, any length, that's a fucking long way, isn't it? Then you're ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. I did. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us had tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol and drugs, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power, and that one is God. May you find him now! ! Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Okay, here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1. We admitted we were powerless over drugs and alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Means you're insane. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and lives over to the care of God as we understood him, meaning whatever God you choose. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. That one's tough. I did it. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Your sponsor. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Okay, that means willingness. 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Did that, had a lot of people. And then 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except to do so would injure them or others. 10. We're almost there. It's not that many steps. It's only 12. 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. I try to do that. I try to do that a lot. Well, yeah, and especially at nighttime, if I've hurt anybody. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge for his will and the power to carry that out. Okay, and 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and drug addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. I hope you all can have some type of a spiritual experience in this thing, because it's vital. It's important, man. All right, here we go. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order!" ! I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Okay, and we'll end with this. Our description of the alcoholic and addict in the chapter to the agnostic and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. Oh boy, I need to take a coffee. Oh, we got some ideas coming. Okay, guys, here we go. 3. A. That we were alcoholic and drug addicts and could not manage our own lives. B. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism or drug addiction. And C. That God could and would if he were sought. Bang. You gotta seek something. I think they read that thing all the time. I'm actually 100% sure they read that. They read how it works. And at every meeting, at the start of it. So they feel that it's important, and I feel that it's important. And God could and would if he were sought. Think for anything, guys. Hey, this is a addiction recovery podcast, but it can go for anything that you're powerless over, right? And there's lots of stuff out there. There's lots of people that don't do any drugs and don't drink, and they find themselves in a huge rut, right? And it seems like the big one is their body you know, how they feel about themselves, and depression and putting weight on, and can't get it off, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And then at some point, you know, I guess you just have to do what we all do, and it's the first step. It's the first step, and it's okay, I'm putting on the clothes. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I want to eat this fucking grilled cheese, and I don't want to go to the gym. But I'm going. I'm going to grab that freaking banana, and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to drink some water too. And then when I get home, I'm going to stay busy. And I'm not going to keep any junk food in the house, and no ice cream, none of that shit. And then I'm going to snack on some healthy stuff at night, maybe some vegetables or something, you know. And there's your day. That's day one. You got to do day two, and then by I don't know, day whatever. I mean, I just saw my sister Cher. When was it? Last week, and I haven't seen Cher in a while. But Cher, well, actually, last time I saw my sister was at my mom's funeral. That's when it was, and so June. Anyways, my sister lost, I think, 50 pounds. 50 pounds. She looks like a completely different person. So obviously, Cher was doing exactly what we all talk about here. You know, taking action, and no matter whether it's weight or drinking. Okay, what's this one here? Yeah. Hey, Brantt, how did you deal with the trauma of your stepdad, Brad? Yeah, that's tough, man. Whenever a little kid gets hit, that's tough. And I think the easiest answer, I haven't hit my kids. That's probably the easiest. I haven't hit my kids. Maybe that's how I dealt with it. I knew what it felt like as a 10-year-old. And I knew what it felt like as a 10-year-old when my sister was playing with her friend. And I was in my room, and they were playing road hockey, I think. And it was late, maybe, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something at night. Brad was trying to sleep. My mom was gone. She was staying with a friend. And all I remember is I heard Cher and her friend playing outside, and it was getting a little bit loud. And I could hear Brad in the other room saying, "You little fuckers better smarten up. Quiet it down." And all I kept thinking about was, oh my God, Cher, please, please. And I remember it clear as day. Door gets kicked open, and there I am in bed as a 10-year-old. And he picks me up and he throws me across the fucking room, and I hit my head against a TV. Remember that? And at this point, I'm screaming for help. And he's punching me. He's pulling my hair. He's throwing me against the wall. And I don't know what's going on at that point. And so anyways, I'm sitting there, and as I'm bleeding, I can think of one thing, and that is I'm going to phone my mom, and I'm going to tell on Brad, you know, what he did. And I think this is the one that broke my spirit a little bit with my mother. I love you, Mom. Hope you're doing better now in heaven. But when I woke up and had a bit of a black eye, and my head, I think, was cut, I phoned her and I said, "Hey, Mom," I said, "Oh my God," I was crying. I said, Brad beat me up last night." And she said, "Cry me another river." Couldn't have been that bad. And so I called my grandma, and my grandma Joe took it serious. My angel. And yeah, anyways, so the trauma, I don't know, man. I think how I've tried to deal with it is like I don't want to put too much emphasis on Brad. I found out later on that Brad, I was gonna actually, the story behind that is I was gonna if I ever saw him again, I was gonna beat the fuck out of him. And so it was 2003, and I had that house in Sylvan Lake. And somehow I had my brother Devin and his dad, and I didn't tell Devin about this, but I was going to give him a licking. And so I invited Brad over. Invited him over for a beer. And when Brad got there, We were going to play a game of pool, and I could feel myself going, yeah, you want to fucking try me now? You want to try me now? And I said, you want a beer? He said, no, I quit drinking. I go, what? Because Brad was an alcoholic. He goes, yeah, I quit drinking. I haven't had a drink in 15 years or something. I said, really? He goes, yeah. And I just sort of took a deep breath and said, oh, good for you. And I think that anger left me. I think because of the rehabs and the stuff that I've done right to people. You know, it doesn't give anybody an excuse to fucking hit a little kid. But didn't give me an excuse to do everything that I did, you know. And that day I forgave him. I forgave him. And I hope that Brad is still sober, you know. And what else we got here? Anyways. How scary is... Any of you guys overdosed? Any of you guys OD'd on drugs? Not planning to? I did. I didn't plan on overdosing. But I did in Penticton one day. And we were at a thing called Peach Fest back in the 90s. And I was there with my boys. We were having fun. It's a nice day out. And all of a sudden we decided to... they decided that I was the guy to go find some mushrooms. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Never taken them before, right? So I'm walking down and there's the guy with the bag of shrooms. I'm like, hey man, how many grams you got? I don't know. I think I got like 7 or 8. I'm like, oh, that should be enough for like 5, 6 of us, a gram each, right? I'll try it out. So I try a couple stems of the mushrooms and the tunes are pounding and the country music's going. And then the next thing I remember is I'm walking back to the campsite. I'm eating those bag or that bag of mushrooms like they're potato chips, and that fucking bag is gone when I get to the campsite. And now I'm in trouble. And all I remember is I'm on my knees in the tent, and my head says, "Go get some help, man. This ain't good." So I walk up to a guy and I said, hey, do you know who I am? He's like, no. I'm like, well, I play in the NHL and I think I'm dying from this overdose of mushrooms. And he starts laughing. He's like, just put your fingers down your throat and puke. You'll be all right. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be all right. I'm like, call the ambulance. So anyways, they call the ambulance for me. And this ambulance shows up in a campground of 2,000 people. And guess who the only guy to get in the ambulance is? Me, the guy that just ate 7 grams of mushrooms. Anyways, so then they take me to the hospital, and the ambulance driver goes, so, hey, Brantt, how many brothers and sisters do you have? I said, I don't know, I think I got 15 brothers and 20 sisters. He goes, oh, you done a lot of shrooms, eh? I said, yeah, a lot. He goes, don't worry, we'll take care of you. So anyways, they take me to the hospital, and they put me in a white room with no windows and no doors. And all they got in there is Sesame Street books. That's it. So I'm sitting in there and fucking reading, Oscar the Grouch as I'm, flipping out on mushrooms. Anyways, the doctor comes in an hour later. He goes, how you doing? And I said, I think I need another hour. So now I don't know what time it is, 2:00 in the morning. And I left the hospital that night, and I got to tell you, I never did mushrooms. That scared me so bad. I don't know if you guys have OD'd on those things and ate as much as I did, but my Lord, you're in a different planet, and it feels like you can't get out of it. You just can't get out of it. Oh, don't miss that. Anyways, folks, hey, okay, so we're going to end it with a little thing here. And from the big book. And page 86. Here we go. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? ? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? ? Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? ? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking of what we could add and do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must but we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. Okay, that's, talking about doing a personal inventory, folks. And anyways, hey, everyone, happy Halloween. And and hope you guys have an awesome week. Keep writing in, hashtag UnHammered. I'm glad you guys are staying unhammered with me because we're 23 weeks, right? We're 23 weeks unhammered, everyone. So anyways, congrats. One more sip. Happy Halloween. Have a great night. See you next week. Thanks.